1. The title: How to curate 2 billion digital artworks per day. 2, 3, and 4. Examples of digital art created today by hundreds of millions of people, images shared on Instagram. 4. A possible use of data visualizations as a curation tool, a way to select, organize, and display at least a small part of its content. Slides 5 and 6. It's hard enough to get museums today to recognize and collect and contextualize digital art. And what about the new scale of art production? These images are photographs from a recent exhibition called Data Traces, an exhibition of digital art and design I was lucky to co-curate with amazing collaborators from Riga. Let's get theoretical. Slide 7. 1985. Only a few thousand digital artists in the world. By 2015, hundreds of millions of people share billions of digital artworks, not only images, processing sketches, Photoshop images, sounds, all kinds of digital media every day. In a city like London, according to the estimates from our lab, using the data we collected in September, approximately 8% of all Instagram images are as good as you'll find in the best photography journals, galleries, and magazines. Very highly stylized, highly composed, highly thought through, and it takes lots of skills to make these images. Now take 8% of 2 billion images shared today on the internet. This alone gives you an idea about the incredible scale of digital art today. Slide 9. So how do we curate trillions of digital artworks already created in billions of digital artworks created every day? What shall we preserve? What is important? How to exhibit them? How to even view them? Slide 10. 19th century and 20th century model, which I call manual selection by elite experts. Select and show what experts or art market thinks is best, most valuable, culturally, or in most cases also financially. Discard everything else. The result of this process, museums today follow art market, especially in the States. We're not really pioneers. We only show artists who are inside art systems and who are sold in the art market. The alternative is slide number 11, what I call democratic big data model. Keep everything. Put everything in data management systems. Use algorithms to automatically find what's interesting, what's unique, what is typical, the themes, the styles, the clusters, and so on. The result is fantastic. Nothing has to be excluded. Everything and everybody, as long as we share we work online, can be included. A thing to watch for, the way the systems are implemented today very often, is that we privilege, we surface what the masses like. So we go from extreme elitism to extreme democracy. So the Twitter shows you the topics which are trending. Instagram may show you images which are liked by thousands of people, right? And so on. But we don't have to use data science. In this way, we can also use it in a very different way to surface things which are unpopular, to surface clusters, to surface lots of small themes popular in different cities. So way the data model is implemented today to focus on what people like or what lots of people like is not necessarily how it can be used. Slide 12. What big data technologies, which are already used today by numerous companies, big, medium, small, by numerous non-profits, by universities, newspapers, are relevant for this kind of curation? Well, we have big data management, we have data mining, we have data visualization, and we have construction of interactive interfaces. Slide 13. So guess what? We already have museums which are running this model for 10 years. This is already in place. We don't use elite experts or money to select what we show. We show everything. Submit it to them. We show everybody, and we allow everybody to customize what we want to see. These museums are called Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, Vimeo, Flickr, and so on. These are real museums of digital art. Slide 14. Well, it sounds great, but is there something missing from these network museums? Yes, a few very crucial things. And I'll focus on 3. The interfaces of social networks are designed today for small screens. We not take advantage of high resolution displays or space, and the space, the ability to organize experiences in space, is probably the best thing physical museums have going for them. In the same manner, the limitations of these network museums is that they only offer you limited ways to explore the data. We don't really allow you to play with the role of data scientist. We don't allow users to sort, cluster, compare, and so on. And the third thing is we of course focus on now. What is shared now? The moment something has been shared, it goes back into the history, disappears from your screen. So historical content is hard to surface, hard to explore, hard to curate. A bit more theory. Slide 15. But it is not only a fundamental shift in the scale of content and how it can be or how it is already curated in social networks. It's also a shift for us, the scholars, the critics, the curators, in how we can understand how culture works and how we can study culture. For the first time ever, we can study what cultural theory used to call reception, or perhaps what is more appropriate to call now interaction, on a mass scale. The social networks data allows us to study aspects of cultural reception on mass scale using automatically captured the data which I call engagement. Comments, shares, likes, navigation, interactions inside video game, interactions with interactive artworks, and so on. Slide 16. More generally, the data now allows us to quantitatively study 4 types of interactions between people, both online and physically, using sensors, so that's communication, between people and spaces, with experience, whether you are experiencing architecture or at a party or moving inside a museum, between people and cultural software tools, so we now have massive data about how digital art is created, and also between people and cultural artifacts and situations, again, it used to be called reception, but what I maybe prefer to call engagement. Slide 17 is an example. So this is one of numerous boards on Pinterest, which collects images, and for every image, from Instagram, and for every image, it tells you exactly what adjustments have been made right before this image was posted. So this data exists, right, for millions of images, so we can understand the processes all kinds of users go through, right, and how this process are mediated by visual tools, by Instagram and third-party tools, and when we can understand the software-based cultural production. So now we did some theory. Let's go to practice. Slide 18. I'm going to show you just a few examples of curating. And curating now means organizing, visualizing, and creating interactive interfaces for large-scale visual content using computational software tools and techniques. All the examples I'll show you come from a portfolio of about 40 projects created in my lab since 2008. A few projects we recently created with our amazing design collaborators, and also one of many projects created by my students. Slide number 19. This is one of student projects. It's an example how we can visualize evolution of news media using front covers of a single newspaper. So please go to slide 20, and if a movie doesn't play, press space bar, and you'll see this amazing video put together by one of my undergraduate students. So I showed the students that we can download any number of pages from over 10 million collection from Library of Congress of pages of American historical newspapers. So he and a group of our students downloaded pages from few newspapers, including Hawaiian Star. Even he animated every single front page, right? So approximately 6,000 pages, which show evolution of graphic design and typography of this newspaper over about 20 years. And you can see how in the beginning, it's a very traditional, very symmetrical layout. Nothing stands out. It's something redesigned for slow reading. And then around 1900, over the course of a few years, a kind of a modernist engineering sensibility emerges. And now we have separation of information into different categories. Something which is very important, big headings, big images, something which is less important. And this is, of course, design, which is still used today. That a modernist graphic design and typography designed for more efficient, faster human processing. When the movie stops playing, let's go to slide 21. This is introduction to another project where we visualize, kind of curate, right, in new ways, a history of a cultural medium, in this case photography, as represented by a single institution, which is Museum of Modern Art in New York. So a couple of years ago, MoMA has invited my lab to work on their photo collection. Slide number 22. It gave us access to their whole digitized collection of approximately 20,000 photographs, which represent really who is who in photography since 1840s, since MoMA was the first museum, as far as I know, to start collecting photography in the early 30s. So slide number 23 is one of numerous visualizations we created for this project. In this case, we took all the photographs and made a kind of bar chart where photographs are visualized by year. So each bar represents 1 year, and the years are organized from top to bottom, from 1840s to 2010. And you can see immediately that, of course, while we know that every museum collection and every art history textbook is very selective, right? Only when you visualize it in this way, you realize how incredibly selective, how incredibly biased, how incredibly partial it is. So there's a huge dominance of photographs created between the wars in the 1930s, not so much before and not so much after, although there's a little spike in the 70s. Now we also can learn from this what kind of photographs in MoMA collection. So let's go to slide 24. So this is a close-up of previous visualization, showing you parts of these bars for 4 years, 1925, 1929. And you can see immediately how modernist photography dominates and there is not as much other types of photography, vernacular, newspapers, and so on. Slide 25 introduces another project which we created for fantastic design collaborators such as Moritz Stefaner from Germany. And here it's the analysis already of a subset of social media artworks. So it's analysis of particular genre of contemporary photography, which is selfies and portraits. So some of you may already know this project. It's introduced in a few following slides, 25, 26, 26, 27, 28, 29. So it's self-visualizations and also interactive application, which we call self-exploratory, where you can use a number of parameters displayed in the graphs above. See slides 28 and 29. So you select these parameters, and then the software automatically filters the database to show you only the selfies which correspond to these parameters. The parameters you can select are the cities, the age, the gender, the face position, is the head turned to the left, to the right, is it roll, top down. You can select particular angles and also emotions, which we measured using state-of-the-art free software system. You can kind of select multiple parameters together to zero in and see how particular selfies look. The slide number 30 is a short video we created to illustrate the project and to show you its various aspects and various dimensions. Finally, when this movie stopped playing, the last project which I want to show you briefly is slide 31. So it's a different type of curation of social media data, of digital content. It's a curating a city, specifically a single street, which is a Broadway in New York, which runs over 13 miles or 21.5 kilometers all the way from Manhattan. So we created an interactive interface for this type of urban data. It uses about 30 million data points and images, and most importantly, it's not only one source like Twitter or Instagram or MoMA, it's 13 different data types. Slide 32 is the front page of this website. It was originally commissioned for New York Public Library, where it's been shown for 13 months. Slide 33. Slide 34 is a more, let's say, traditional analytical view of the same data. So using the fact that we're looking at a single street, which is Broadway, you can kind of flatten it out and unroll it onto the x-axis. And then each bar shows you volume of different data along Broadway, where the Wall Street and downtown is on the left, and the Midtown is in the middle. You see these big spikes around Times Square, and then you go to Columbia University and Harlem and so on the right, and you can see various data types and how much data has been shared, Twitter, Facebook, taxi rides, average income is measured by census and so on. Well, we want to curate this data. We want to let people interactively explore this data set. We want them to explore the data which we share themselves. So we wanted to create something different. And we also didn't want to give people a familiar, kind of commercialized, codified convention, which is a map. So we wanted to create something which doesn't use graphs, it doesn't use maps. So the solution is slides 35 and 36. We layered all the data, we aligned it by the Broadway coordinates, we created a kind of set of layers, and the visual data, the Google Street View images which we collected, the Instagram images dominate. Even in 36, you see a screenshot of a user, actually one of us, interacting with installation. It's a particular version of installation, again, at New York Public Library, which uses 42-inch touchscreen. So you can use familiar gestures to zoom out and see all of Manhattan, right, along Broadway in one screen, or you can zoom in and you can navigate one building at a time And if you play a movie, in slide 37, you will see how you also get numerical data, but the visual is really privileged, so numerical data is displayed not as graphs, but as these kind of points. And there are also numbers in the middle. So when you zoom out, you get the averages of the data for all of New York. And when you zoom in, you start seeing averages for every particular block. So it's a way to combine the kind of on-the-ground social media Google Street View data with kind of top-down kind of government census type data. It's also a way to create the navigation for a large amount of content, which uses the ability of computer to zoom in and zoom out at different scales. And it's also experiment how to, in a certain sense, give people back their data, right, at least in some ways, to allow them to actually see how the images which we share on social networks can be combined to create this new type of portrait, this new type of curation of a city. Finally, the last slide is 38. You can download and use our free software tools. You can read all our publications and get more information about our projects, and also get links to Flickr, where we have over 1,300 visualizations. So everything is free. You can download them at very high resolution by going to softwarestudies.com or my own site manovich.net, or you can also download my publications from my page on Academia.edu. You can contact me over Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'm looking forward to your comments, questions, criticisms, and engagements on any of these platforms. Thank you so much.